Okay, Ali, are you ready?
Yeah, almost.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Well, just to introduce, my name is Stephen Turner. I'm from the Challenger Learning Center of Kentucky, and we're in an interview with Ali Hussein Mohsin from the Iraqi Museum in Baghdad. I guess you're at home right now, right?
Yeah.
All right, sounds wonderful. So as soon as we're all ready and everything, then we'll get started.
Thank you, Steven. So, 1 second. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. It's such an honor to be with all of you here today online. I want to extend my gratitude to Mr. and Mrs. Turner for inviting me. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ali Hussein Mohsin, and I have been working at the Iraqi Museum in Baghdad since October 2019. I obtained my bachelor's and master's degrees in archaeology from Baghdad University. My major is Assyriology, which focuses on the study of ancient languages of Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is the Latin name for the historical region of Western Asia situated within the Tigris-Euphrates river system in the northern part of Fertile Crescent. Today, Mesopotamia occupies modern Iraq, the border sense, and the historical region included present-day Iraq and parts of present-day Iran, Kuwait, Syria, and Turkey. The first settlers of this region were called Sumerians and Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. They are originating from different areas in present-day Iraq, dominated Mesopotamia from the beginning of written history around 3100 BC to the fall of Babylon around 539 BC. When it was conquered by the Achaemenid Empire, it fell to Alexander the Great 332 BC. And after his death, it became a part of Greek Seleucid Empire. Mesopotamia is the site of the earliest development of Neolithic revolution from around 10,000 BC. It has been identified as having inspired some of the most important developments in human history, including the invention of the wheel and the planting of the first cereal crops, and the development of cursive script, mathematics, astronomy, and agriculture. It is recognized as the cradle of some of the world's earliest civilizations. You may be wondering now what sparked my interest in studying ancient remains of this region, which have endured for thousands of years. Well, my passion for archaeology began at a very young age when I became an avid fan of two iconic characters, Indiana Jones and Sherlock Holmes. I fantasized about becoming like Indiana Jones, exploring archaeological sites, discovering priceless artifacts, and selling them to museums to fund a life of luxury filled with mansions and yachts. Yeah. However, as I matured, my perspective on archaeology shifted. I found myself working in a museum where I am entrusted with the task of curating rare and valuable archaeological finds. Instead of plundering and profiting from these treasures, my duty is to meticulously care for them. I carefully document each item, ensuring they are properly registered in the museum archives, and finally, I prepare them for safekeeping in the museum storage facilities. While my childhood dreams may not have materialized exactly as I imagined, I have come to appreciate the importance of preserving and studying our historical heritage. It is a privilege to work with these ancient artifacts as they provide valuable insights into the lives and cultures of our ancestors. What is the truly fascinating about studying archaeology and working in a museum is the opportunity to be in close contact with materials that have traveled thousands of years, carrying the stories of ancient humans, their lifestyles, food, clothing, manufacturing, trading, and more. When I hold an ancient artifact in my bare hands, especially if it is still bears the touch of fingerprints, it feels as if I am shaking hands with the person who crafted it centuries ago. In other words, I feel in a deep contact with the history of this land, as though I have traveled back in time to their vibrant society. After years of studying archaeology and Assyriology, I came to realize that perhaps I should have expanded my studies beyond the examination of ancient human remains to include the investigation of ancient remnants of planet Earth itself. I want to delve into the history of our remarkable planet, how it was formed, and how life originated on it. This led me to start collecting minerals and fossils, as they too have journeyed millions of years traveling to reveal the narrative of our planet. Now my fossil collection includes a diverse array of specimens, including dinosaur's tooth, a dinosaur eggshell, trilobite fossils, orthoceras fossils, ammonite fossils, and most significantly, stromatolite fossils. This stromatolite holds this stromatolite, as you can see, this fossil holds a special place in my collection as it represents the earliest known life form on Earth. A stromatolite fossil is a type of fossilized structure that dates back to billions of years, and it is formed by the activity of ancient microbial communities. Stromatolite are layered structures that result from the trapping, binding, and sedimentation of sediment by these microbial communities, which include various types of bacteria and algae. Stromatolite are significant but because they provide evidence of some of the earliest life forms on Earth. They have been found in various geological formations around the world and particularly abundant in ancient marine environment. Studying stromatolite fossils can provide insights into the structure and behavior of ancient microbial communities and their role in shaping early ecosystem. So I do not want to deviate from the topic of our lecture or presentation, so I will return to talking about archaeology and Assyriology. First, I want to present something about the Iraqi Museum, if you allow me to share screen. So the Iraqi Museum, this is a photo from the Iraqi Museum nowadays. The Iraqi Museum was established first back in the 20s and specifically in the 1923. And the first person who worked on this was Miss Gertrude Bell. She was the one who worked on establishing the museum. And this photo from the early days of the Iraqi Museum. The cornerstone for the present building was laid in 1957. 57 at 5:30. So this is one of the most important rooms in the Iraqi Museum. We call it the Assyrian Hall. As you can see, the Assyrian bull, as we call it, the Lamasu, or the protection spirit. They used to put it in the gates and to protect the palace or the temple or anything, any area from evil spirits and demons. This is one of the most rare and beautiful artifacts. It's the Hercules bronze statue. It was found in South Baghdad, and it dates back to 312, 139. This is the Hatra room, as we call it. It contains all the Hatra civilization. Most of these statues belong to Santaruq king and King Hercules statues. This is one of the Hercules statues, but it was inscribed in Latin. Unfortunately, I do not read or translate Latin, but I wish. And now I want to show you some of the photos from the marshlands in South Iraq. This photo is from the Iraqi marshlands in the South Iraq. And this is some of the animals, the cows and calves in the marshlands. Unfortunately, most of the marshlands now were dried according to the lack of water resources. And those are the kids of the marshlands. As you can see, they are artists because they are making these mud bricks, and they make the animals shapes. And now I'm just gonna talk about the some of the papers I presented internationally, and it happened actually just in a coincidence, I think, because it started by a post on Facebook by the British Museum. They posted something about the relief of the Queen of the Night they have in the British Museum. So on Facebook, they said that it represents goddess Ishtar, but I thought it represents the evil goddess Lilith. So I had an argument, a very long argument on with the British Museum about this relief of Lilith or Ishtar or whatever they call it. So eventually, I do not give up on an argument easily. So I had to write a very long paper about this topic, and I had to present it at the Louvre back in 2019. And in the Louvre, so I presented this paper in the Louvre in 2019, and I had a big discussion with the scholars, and some of them agreed, some of them disagreed. But eventually, I found out that something is more interesting about the relief of Ishtar or Lilith, or as the British Museum call it, the Borneo relief. I found out about the names of the various names of Lilith. I found out about the various votaries and the servant of goddess Ishtar. So in other words, I found out more than just what this relief represents. So yeah, this was just to focus on this relief. I want to know who this relief represents, either Ishtar or Lilith. So I found out more than that, and I presented this paper, and it will be published this summer. And the second presentation was back in March 2022. I presented this paper in Boston. It was about an agriculture technique which was raising the field to maybe a meter or less to keep the seeds protected from the water. So I presented this paper in Boston. I had discussion with a lot of scholars, including Professor Peter McCloskey, Professor David Owen, and one of my best friends and colleagues, Jan Safford. The other paper I wanted to present was It was about unpublished text, included amounts of commodities to build a ship or a boat. It has a lot of wooden stuff and nails and tar or to build this boat. So this scribe made a lot of mistakes, something like mathematical mistakes, and so he presented all these in this text, and I had to present his mistakes in this paper again in Boston, but it was in November 2022. So I will be presenting another paper this year, probably in Chicago. It's again about unpublished text. I actually visited a lot of museums, and I have learned a lot of techniques from this museum to protect the archaeological finds. So my responsibility in the museum is I receive the archaeological finds from excavations missions, and I give them the Iraqi Museum number. I register them, and then I make something like ID cards to these archaeological finds, and then after I finish with registering them and catalog them, I deliver them to the museum storage. So this was my presentation. I'm sorry about it if I took a lot of time. It's an honor to be with you all, and I wish one day I will have the honor to meet you in person. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Ali. Do you have time for any questions or?
If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer.
Oh, okay, sounds great.
Do we have any?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions, sir?
So how long have you been at the museum?
Sorry, I can't hear.
Oh, sorry. Let me bring the microphone.
Yeah,
over
grab the
closer.
microphone.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. You don't have to do that. There we go. All right, try that again there. Sorry.
How long have you been at the museum?
3 years, since October 2019.
All right. What are some of your favorite pieces? Is there anything that you've just seen and said, "Oh my goodness, this is just awesome"?
Yeah, actually, there was a lot of cuneiform tablets and the statues, very small statues that we received from the excavation missions. Yeah, these were the most important artifacts. I wish I could present them to you, but unfortunately, I'm not allowed. I'm not authorized to present these artifacts. But most importantly, they were the cuneiform tablets, and one of the most important artifacts that I registered, which blowed my mind, was the Gilgamesh tablet, the Gilgamesh dream tablet that the Iraqi Museum retrieved from the United States back in 2021. I registered this tablet. It was a huge honor. Even my hands was shriveling, and I couldn't control my hands to write the Iraqi Museum number on this tablet. Yeah, so this is one of the most important tablets and artifacts I ever registered.
Thank you. So, you said that you presented the paper on the Lilith statue. Is that correct?
Yeah,
that was you.
Yeah, that was me.
I've heard of this before, and I had no idea it was you that did this. And this has been debated for what the last couple of years now. You wrote a paper not too long ago on unpublished works from the museum that are in the museum, the Sumerian letters specifically. Can you tell us anything about that?
Right. You mean the Sumerian letters?
Yes.
Yeah, between two persons. Yeah, it was about delivering amounts of wheat, and the first text like given an offering and to the temple, as I remember. The other letter was about witnesses. They are like making witnesses in some kind of an occasion. So the text was not very clear because it was broken, and it had a lack of information. They only had the personal names of the witnesses, and the letter says that those witnesses have witnessed this occasion, and with the date formula, it was, I think, one of the Shusen king years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's about the letters.
In Mesopotamia, in ancient Mesopotamia, were there any women that were scribes? We hear about a lot of scribes that were men. Were there any women that were scribes?
Yeah, of course, it was Enkidu Anna, the poet, and the one of the most important scribes and poets in Mesopotamia. She's Akkadian. She's the daughter of Sargon, I remember. Is that true? I think, yeah, the daughter of Sargon. She was a poet, and a perfect poet and a scribe. There was also a chemist. I forgot her name. One of the most important chemists in the old Babylonian period. She used to manufacture some kind of chemical and aromatic commodities. Yeah, I forgot her name.
I think that's all the questions that I have for you. Do you have any more questions? Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Going back to cuneiform, did you say that's one of your specialties?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. I'm interested in linguistics. I was a military linguist. And so a lot of times I'm interested in things like that. In cuneiform, do they have any, I guess, they would be the mythological or the cryptological animals over there? Like here we have Bigfoot, and in Scotland they have Loch Ness. Do they have anything like that over
there? Of course, we have a lot of those.
All right, that was my question, because I'm wearing a Bigfoot shirt now, and I'm very interested in stuff like that. So I was just wondering if they had anything, because I looked it up and it said cuneiform is one of the oldest written languages, and I was wondering if there were references to things like that back then.
We have everything here that they could imagine. We have demons, we have angels, we have Bigfoot, we have everything. Their imagination was very big, so they imagined a lot of stories, a lot of fairy tales, a lot of even some kind of songs to sing their children. So that has mythological stories. So yeah, we have a lot of those Bigfoots and angels and demons, evil spirits. Yeah, we have a lot of those.
I imagine it's pretty scary to stand in front of one of the Lamassu just towering over top of you. Exactly.
It was magnificent. One of the most important moments in my entire life, standing in front of the Lamassu statue, especially in the Orientalist Institute. This Lamassu statue was way bigger than the statue we have in the Iraqi Museum. So it was magnificent. It was horrifying. Like I'm standing in a living creature. It was magnificent, amazing.
I can imagine. I got to stand in front of that same one. It's massive. Oh my God.
Marvelous.
All right. Do you have any more questions or? Okay. Well, I guess that's all I've got. Chris, do you have any?
I have a couple, but I'll wait. They're very specific.
Oh, okay. She's got some research questions for you later on. So all right. Well, thank you so much, Ali. We really appreciate you doing this with us. You did such a wonderful job as always.
Thank you.
All right. Shukran, Habibi. We'll see you later.
See you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.